Welcome back, traders, for another backtesting session. I have finally reached over 500 subscribers. Thank you so much for all those who have subscribed. Let's keep it going and see if we can make it over 1,000. So in my live stream on Sunday, I did do a little backtesting from the May 6th to the May 10th period. So this time we're going to go from May 13th to May 17th. Right now I have it set on May 10th. And I almost forgot, I want to mention that somebody in my live stream did suggest FX Replay. That is a pretty nice backtesting software that you can use online. However, that's mostly for Forex. So when I went and tried it out, it was mostly like Forex pairs. You can look at gold on there, but since I am doing index futures, I'm not going to be able to use FX Replay. So I'm going to go ahead and just stick with Thinkorswim on demand. Now here I'm looking at the micro NASDAQ on the weekly. I know it's been a while since we've been on the weekly, but we can definitely take a look since we do have this inefficiency here. There was a SIBI and we traded above it, and we actually closed the week above the SIBI. And here I have it highlighted red. Also here in blue, there is a BISI on the lower half of this weekly SIBI. So kind of a small balanced price range. I don't really want to see price go below this BISI. It can wick to the lower half of the SIBI, but pretty much I want to stay in the upper half of the SIBI, and I'm gonna be bullish going for the all-time high once again, because we see that we had a drop here, taking out the sell side below these two swing lows, but we had a really nice reaction off of this weekly BISI, so it leads me to think that we are still going to be heading up higher. So here I am on Monday, May 13th, 8 o'clock in the morning on the 1 hour chart. And looking back, we did have this old high and we could see that we didn't go above it. We created relative equal highs. So let's zoom in here and see what we can look at. You can see it did not get hit. So I'm looking for price to at least reach up to there, perhaps go even higher. On the sell side, I can see we have this low here. There's also a fair value gap that I'll mark out from this to here, and I'm looking for price to kind of come down here for a sell side sweep, taking out this low, maybe going back into this fair value gap, and when we get a nice reaction, some displacement to the upside, that's when I'll be looking to go ahead and take a long. Now if it does come lower, we do have this swing low, and I'll mark it out, and then we even have another swing low even lower. We could go ahead and take out the sell side and go back into that weekly SIBI and then have a reaction off of there. Because it's Monday, I am expecting price to come down and trade opposing to my actual bias, and then for the rest of the week, perhaps go in my direction, right? We're thinking power of 3. So now on the 5-minute time frame, at 8 o'clock, we did drop down to take out this swing low, but we did not go back down into that 1 hour fair value gap or take out this swing low during the London session. So I'm not exactly sure if this is going to be reliable, but if we come down and I see confirmation, I'll go ahead and take the confirmation entry, aiming for this swing high back on the 1 hour chart. So here just before 9:30, I do see we have a fair value gap. We did come down into this inefficiency and we went back up, trading above this down candle. So we do have a chance to stay at delivery. We do have a fair value gap. I could try and take this entry. However, you know, I think one of the things I have been doing wrong is I have been impatient. I need to wait a little bit longer to get a better read on the market. We didn't really take out the sell side that I wanted, and the 1 hour fair value gap, we never trade back into it. It's getting close to 9 o'clock and we took out the buys. If you look at it, we've been taking out buy side here, took out buy side one more time. So at 9:30, we could just come down for the sell side below this, and maybe even reach back into the 1 hour fair value gap. So I'm going to be a little bit patient this time. I'm going to wait for at 9:30 and see what we get. If we do get a sweep and then get a fair value gap, I think that could be a good entry for aiming for the high target here. But I'm expecting price to come and maybe come into the sell side below this low. If that happens and then we get a reaction, I would definitely be taking the first fair value gap after that. But here, I'm just going to be a little bit patient. Okay, and as you can see at 9:30, we did drop down. We took out the sell side below this low, and we kind of created relative equal lows. I'm going to mark this out. I'm expecting another stab down here into the 1 hour fair value gap, and then I want to see displacement to the upside. Okay, next few minutes we did come and take out the sell side. This was exactly what I was looking for. It actually came back down. If I zoom out, it actually came back down to these previous area here where it's relatively flat. Down here you can see it's kind of flat, and it looks like it's going to take that as well. I mean, it could keep going lower, but I don't really want to. As soon as I take the sell side below these this consolidation, I want to see a rejection. I want to see a bounce up, and then I think because we've dropped so much, I want to wait for a confirmation entry. Okay, so if you can see, it poked just underneath the sell side here, very slightly. It poked just below it. The sell side was at 52.50. If you look at the low price here, this is 52.25. So just one tick below the sell side may not be enough, but gonna keep an eye on it. We do have a BISI, a fair value gap to the upside here. If we can come back into it and get confirmation, then I will take a confirmation entry. Gonna mark out this SIBI. I don't really want to see price get held up by the SIBI. I want to see it go through it, not really have much resistance. But let's just go ahead and see whether or not we're gonna get confirmation here either way. Okay, so getting close to 1030. Price did come down into this fair value gap, but as you can see, it just hit the very top of it, did not really go into it. You can go ahead and count as it being hit. I mean, if you look to the left, we do have a SIBI here as well, and it's kind of like in the middle. You can use this SIBI as an inversion, and potentially we have another fair value gap here. So I'm going to go ahead and try for this fair value gap if it remains intact. I do see that potentially we have a volume imbalance. Hopefully we'll get a down candle and, you know, cover this up. But my entry will be here at 304, risk down here at 288. Like I said, I want to keep a real close eye on the SIBI. Don't really want to see it be held up as resistance. Want to see price punch through it. But yeah, let's go ahead and see whether or not we can get this trade. Okay, so as you can see, no fair value gap. So I never entered on this trade. We did come back. I mean, you know, if you want to say like, oh, I entered a trade, I got stopped out. I mean, no, remember, I'm always looking for fair value gaps. Since we don't have a fair value gap, there was not confirmation anymore. We did come back down back into this fair value gap. Remember these relative equal high that didn't really poke into the fair value gap, but this time it actually did. So now I'm looking for price to go above this high, create a market structure shift, give me another confirmation, and then I'll be looking for this high. Maybe that would be my first partial, and of course this high back up there. And then I want to keep my eye once again on this SIBI. So getting close to 1130, price is not doing much. It's pretty much consolidating. I'm kind of done with today, but we'll go ahead and take a look a little bit. Well, what I want to see is coming down to take the sell side below this consolidation area and then start seeing displacement to the upside. Now, there are relative equal lows here, even though this poked through it by one tick. We do have relative equal lows. There is more sell side down there, so we could be coming back into this SIBI just to go down there. I feel like with this price action, now it's going to be a little bit more like 50-50, and we're at 1130, getting close to the end of my time window, so I'm probably not going to take a trade today. And at 12:15, we did come back down into this hourly BISI one more time, and then we pretty much went back into the consolidation area. So like I said, price is not doing much. There was really no reason to jump into it. I'm really glad I stayed patient today, just let Monday walk by, and we'll have more opportunities on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. At the end of the day, Monday, we did go for those relative equal lows, but as you can see, right after that happened, we pretty much just went back up and consolidated right here in the middle of the range. So not actually a great trading day, honestly. Okay, so Tuesday morning. Now someone is like doing construction or drilling around the house, so apologize if that's going to be bothering you in the background. Hopefully you guys don't hear it. But anyways, Tuesday morning, 8:15, and what I'm looking at is the sell side below these relative lows and the buy side above these highs. I want to see a sweep the sell side and then start going up for the buy side. Now, I do also have this 1 hour fair value gap drawn out. We wicked through it a few times, but you can see the bodies have remained in it or above. And currently we are trading above this fair value gap, kind of using it as a measuring stick to kind of see where I think price could be going. There's note that there is also a fair value gap here close to the high of this 1 hour fair value gap. So here on the 5 minute, what I'm looking for is I do see that we did come down and sweep all the sell side back during the London session. However, kind of want to see price go back into that 1 hour fair value gap. Remember, there was also another fair value gap somewhere around here close to the top of this fair value gap. And we do kind of have relative equal lows. So I want to see either at 8:30 or 9:30 come down, sweep below this low. I'll just go ahead and draw it out. I want price to come and sweep this low. Then I want to start seeing displacement to the upside. So hopefully that is what we'll get. And okay, there was like some big news at 8:30. Maybe it was CPI or something. I'm not exactly sure, but we just dunked down back into the red. Remember that red was a daily fair value gap. I'm gonna go up to the 4 hour just to see what was that. Yeah, it looks like it was a daily fair value gap. And going into the 1 hour, 5 days, we can see that we took out the sell side liquidity below these relative equal lows. It actually took out this low as well, which is still good. It took out this low. I don't really see price coming down this low. So as long as we remain here, we don't really go below this low anymore, and we start having a bounce up, I'll be looking for price to come and take the buy side. All right, just before 9:30, what I'm looking at is this. Price came down, wicked into all the sell side, and now we're kind of consolidating here. We did trade back above that 1 hour fair value gap that I said I was using as a measuring stick. On the upside, we do have a bunch of buy side above these highs here, and we did create a fair value gap on the 5 minute. Now, will this hold up? Not sure. If it does hold up and give us a confirmation fair value gap without taking out the highs, I can enter on that. In fact, you may even be able to just enter here on this, but 9:30, you know, it could be a little volatile. We could come down one more time. And just to mark this out, I am also looking at this really large wick, the lower wick here. I'm looking at 50%. So we could come back down and tap this 50%, and then we start rallying. So gonna be a little bit more patient and give 9:30 some time to show me what price wants to do. Okay, so far it looks like this fair value gap is being respected. There is no confirmation fair value gap to enter on, so just gonna wait a little bit longer. We could come down, take this low, and go back into this order block. So just gonna be a little bit more patient. All right, looks like I should have taken this fair value gap. That definitely would have worked out, at least for a partial above these highs. Now, there is another fair value gap. Let me just get rid of that tail. So I have a fair value gap here. Now, if this remains intact, I will enter on this with my entry above here. And let me just get rid of this. It's a little distracting. With my stop down here. So it's going to be from 309 to 280. So that's going to be about 30 points. And the reason why I'm entering is because I do have those higher time frame targets. So I'm hoping to get an entry here, take a partial off here, about 1 to 1, and then maybe 1.5 to 1 back up here at 351. So you may say, why didn't I take this fair value gap down here? Like I said, you know, I'm trying to practice patience. I feel like that's one big thing that backtesting has helped me, is to be more patient and wait for confirmations, wait for good setups where it's more clear on where price is actually going. And, you know, I haven't done backtesting in a while. I think I've been a little lazy the past week or so, and I did notice that my trading has suffered a little bit. I have been less patient in my trading, kind of being a little bit more impulsive. So going back to basics, practicing the backtesting and practicing patience. So I'm going to go ahead and take this one. I think I've been patient enough. We waited for a fair value gap. We waited for confirmation, and we have another fair value gap here, and I do have higher targets. So I'm going to go ahead and enter here at 307 with my risk down here at 280. I think, let me refer to the spreadsheet. I believe that's going to be 2 contracts. So here on the spreadsheet, the balance is 11,170. So I can take 2 contracts for a 1% risk. So we're gonna go ahead and give this a shot, with my first partial of course being this high, and then I'll look to take the second one over here. Okay, so this first one did not work out. We pretty much went back down, got stopped out. I don't see an issue with the trade, it just didn't work out. We came back into that 1 hour fair value gap. We do have a second shot at it, so I'm gonna wait to see if there's gonna be a chance for a second trade. And with the second trade, I'm gonna take a 0.5% risk since we already took a loss on the day. All right, and just a few minutes later, we rallied up and took out our target. So this is one of those times where, you know, it just goes against me. Took my stop and then actually ran for my target. A little annoying, honestly, but looking at the price action, I guess what I could have done better was when we had this fair value gap here, I may have been able to take a shot at this with like maybe half of my risk or something, and with my stop down here, and looking to take the partial back up here. And then this fair value gap, we can see that we did drop, but it came back into this fair value gap for a reclaimed fair value gap. Did not really give me another entry, but you can see that this wick right here did go above this opening price on this down candle. So there is a change in the state delivery, so another drop back down. I could have tried to re-enter on this fair value gap one more time here, but of course that's a little bit advanced, not really for this model. I'm just going to chalk it up to today was a missed opportunity. So at 10:30, after taking both my buy side target, price did come back down. It's coming back down into this fair value gap. But you know, because my buy side targets have been hit, I do not want to like try to FOMO in on this fair value gap. Right now, I'm pretty much content with the loss and just gonna let price go. If it does start running, so be it. But I'm not really interested in a trade anymore this morning. But I'm gonna go ahead and keep on walking through the price action. So we can see at 11:15, price did drop back down into this order block, and now we are starting to rally up once again. We do have a fair value gap here. If price does come back down into this fair value gap, I guess I could potentially try and take one, aiming for this high with my risk down here at the low. It would probably about be a 1-to-1, and if I do have enough risk, because this does look like 35 points, not sure how it'll look with the balance, but I could go ahead and try to take this, looking to just mitigate my earlier losses. Not really looking to like, you know, make a blowout win or try to like recover everything, but maybe I'll recover 50% of the losses for today if we can get down here. Of course, that's only if we do not take out the buy side. If it does, then I'm not entering. Okay, so I went ahead and entered a trade, just one contract, just to see if I can make up any of my losses. Now, I'm not thrilled with the risk because this is going to put me over 0.5% of risk. It's going to put me at 0.65 instead of just 0.5. So it's a little bit more than I want to risk, but I think it'll be okay. It's close enough that we'll go ahead and give it a second shot. Just looking for this partial at 371.50. All right, it's 12:15. Not really liking the price action. Now you could think about this and say, hey, I don't really like the risk up here. You could try and take the 50% of this fair value gap and try to enter there. That way you lower your risk a little bit. But so far we went back down and then we just start consolidating. So unfortunately, it's not looking too great, honestly. It may just consolidate for the rest of lunch. Hopefully it doesn't come and stop me up, and hopefully we go for the buy side before the end of lunch. I'm gonna go ahead and keep holding it and just see what we get. Okay, this is like the longest I've ever held a trade on the backtesting. You know, I figured lunchtime we were gonna consolidate, and right now it is 1:45 in the afternoon, and finally we went back above my entry price, so we could start running here. The only thing I'm worried about is we do have this SIBI back here. This could be a SIBI, and then we have relative lows down here, so we could start digging down for the sell side. At this point, I could just get out here, pretty much break even. You know, it doesn't look really good. Or what I can do is I can say, hey, I don't really want to see this fair value gap close, and I can put like a stop loss like over here or something. That way it just minimizes my risk. But what the hell, you know, we're just back testing. If this was real trading, maybe I would get out here, but because I'm not liking these relative lows, I think price is gonna come back down and take the relative lows. But let's go ahead and just keep the risk where it's at and see if we can step up for the buy side. Okay, so I got pretty lucky here. I mean, you know, this was a little risky because those relative lows could get swept, but we went ahead and did. I like seeing this fair value gap here around my entry. I like how it created fair value gap and then it started holding. That was looking pretty nice, and now went ahead and took out my buy side target at 371.50. That happened around 210. So yeah, pretty long trade. You know, it's past my window, but I think it was all right. I mean, like, if I'm not able to trade during that time, I would have just set a buy stop here with my target here, have a, well, I forgot what it's called, like a ODO order or something, where like if one gets hit, the other gets canceled. Anyways, and then just like left the chart if I wasn't able to watch the whole thing. Anyways, recording a pretty nice trade here, recovered my losses, and let's go ahead and move on to the next day. Anyways, just cleaning up the chart a little bit, looking at the 1 hour on Wednesday morning, 8 o'clock, we went ahead and hit the buy side here, and we're kind of consolidating. We got buy side at the high of the consolidation and sell side at the low of the consolidation. It did come down and got back into this fair value gap, although we could go and retrace a little bit deeper. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit to the 4 hour just to kind of take a look at where we are at. Remember, I'm looking for that all-time high to get hit. I think as looking at the daily fair value gap, the SIBI, we did poke into it and we have rejected. So looking for price to just remain bullish. On the 15 minutes, so like I said, sell side down here, buy side up here. We could go for the sell side back into this inefficiency. I don't really want to see it go below this down candle, so I'm going to go ahead and mark this out. Here, I do not want to see price go below here, so anywhere between the sell side and this, that'd be nice. And then I'll look for some kind of a reversal pattern here, going for this high as my first partial, and looking for that higher time frame target. All right, 8:30, there was some news going on. Maybe today was CPI, not sure. We did come back down, create relative equal lows, did not go through the sell side, but pretty much just ran for the highs, ran for this high, and of course those relative equal highs on the 4 hour. So was just way too quick, couldn't really get in on today's action. But I'm gonna go ahead and mark out this is the next high, and there are a bunch of relative highs here. Like, this is actually a pretty big sell side target. If we are going to be strong today, I'm going to remove that one. If we're really going to be strong today, I'm going to aim for those relative highs up there. But I'm not really sure what's going to happen with this big run up. It may not be a trade day, but the best thing I can think of is if we come back down into this inefficiency, balance it out, and create a setup somewhere in this area. But other than that, not really thrilled at these relative lows. We could come back down for them, but I'm still going to go ahead and just remain bullish. Okay, just before 10 o'clock, 9:30 didn't do too much. We did create a fair value gap here, but pretty much just consolidation. Now we have finally went down into this inefficiency on the 5 minute. So if I can see some sort of a setup here, then that would be nice to take. I got my eye on this fair value gap. It's a pretty large SIBI. If we can get above this SIBI and use it as inversion, that could actually be a decent trade to go for the upside. So I'm going to go ahead and just mark this out with orange, right, to let you know that I'm looking at this as an inversion fair value gap. Okay, so just after 10 o'clock, we did trade above this SIBI, inversion SIBI, and taking a closer look, we do have a fair value gap here. This is going to be my initial place where I put my long with the stop here at the low. I could have it like at below this order block here, right? I mean, I don't really want to see another change in the state of delivery. So that is going to give me like 20 points more less risk. So I'm going to go ahead and try and do that instead. So I have this here initially. If price comes down, I'll take it. But if this is a fair value gap, I will enter at the high of that fair value gap. Like for example, if it closes like this, I will have an entry up here, but this candle is not done forming. Gonna wait and see what it does. Okay, so I went ahead and entered a trade. Pretty wide range, honestly. Taking a look at the spreadsheet, this is 0.7% risk with just one contract, 39 points of risk. Entered here at the low of this, or at the high of this fair value gap. This is the low hanging fruit. Now I have my stop loss here below this order block because I do have multiple PD arrays of protection. I have a fair value gap here, another fair value gap, this order block, and also have this inversion fair value gap. It could come back down to the inversion fair value gap, but I do not want to see it go below 50% of this fair value gap. Now, I think this is what I'm going to do. It doesn't really make sense to take everything off here because the risk to reward is not that great. It won't even be 1-to-1. So I think aiming for this high is the most reasonable thing. It's going to be a 1-to-1 if I aim for the high. But if we start going back, if we start going above these relative equal highs, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and move my stop to break even. That way I minimize the loss. If we do get stopped out, maybe there'll be another setup as long as we don't take out the high. But I'm looking for this high to be the first partial. I may even like aggressively trail because with this big run, you can kind of look at this like, you know, here's the first leg, consolidation, and then we're going to double the leg again, aiming for the next higher time frame target. So I could aggressively trail once we go above that high. I think I may try to do that today. Okay, so here we are. Next few candles here, we did go above these relative equal highs. So I'm going to go ahead and take this off, taking this off as well. And then we have another fair value gap. I'll just highlight it just to show you where I'm looking at. This fair value gap, it did poke through. So I'm expecting price to just basically go straight up from here. Gonna go ahead and move my stop to break even. Let's see. I'm thinking I'm just going to put it at the low of this. Sorry, I'm going to put it at the low of this up candle. This way it's pretty much break even a little bit, like maybe one point in the profits, just to cover up like commissions and fees. But yeah, gonna go ahead because I don't really want to see price come back down here anymore. It's got to take the high, and I want to see big acceleration. If I see big acceleration, I will aggressively move my stop up. Okay, so far this is not exactly what I want to see. I mean, this candle is not done forming yet, but what I'm gonna do is go ahead and move my stop up. I can move it up to the low of this candle. That way we still are below this fair value gap, and we are below this down candle. So should not, if it's gonna really go up, we should not go below here anymore. I'm okay, like, you know, just having a small win today for a chance to, like, you know, get a little bit more meat on the bone. Okay, so far it is going pretty well. You can see we went up above this buy side, and I'm going to go ahead and move my stop up one more time. Remember, I'm trying to aggressively move it up. I mean, I could even just move it here. That way, you know, I'll get out at the first partial anyways. This is where I was wanting to get out. That way, I'm not really going to, you know, miss out on anything. Now, what I'm looking at is I will see this fair value gap right here. It's very, very small, but there is a fair value gap there. So, like, technically, I don't really want my stop here. It would be better if I have my stop down here, but yeah, you know what? I'm gonna be a little greedy here. Gonna just move my stop down here. I'll miss out on like maybe 6 or 7 points. But I'm looking at this balanced price range. Price went up and down and up. So I don't want to see price go below here. I think this is more reasonable. And I want to start seeing more acceleration to the upside. And I'll start trailing my stop, probably just one PD array of protection. Okay, so we started going up. It's not going as fast as I wanted. But if you see here, we did create this down candle. So I'm going to go ahead and move my stop up a little bit more here, just below this down candle. I'm going to go for, I guess, I'm just going to go for the low. And hopefully we'll start seeing more acceleration to the upside. No fair value gaps or anything, but at least now that I'm trailing it up, I'm already above that first partial target. So either way, it is working out. and pretty much just gonna wait to get stopped out or if it reach our higher time frame target. All right, next couple of candles, great. I love seeing this. We created another fair value gap. So zooming in here, you can see we have a fair value gap here. So this is going to be my PD array of protection, moving the stop loss up one more time to the low of this fair value gap. Going to be on that third candle because we could wick through it a little bit, but since we're so close to our target, hopefully we don't even trade this. It'll probably be like a breakaway gap or something. Okay, so you can see we did tap into that fair value gap right here. We did tap into it. It did not close all the way, which is a good sign, but gonna go ahead and move my stop up one more time to the low of where it tapped into that fair value gap. Don't think price should go below that if we're gonna go ahead and run for the highs. Because I mean, if we go below that, I'm not really seeing much inefficiency here. So what is the point of going down even lower? It should just go for the buy side. Okay, and we finally got stopped out here. It was just consolidating, came back down. It could still run higher from here using this fair value gap. So if you were a little bit more patient and you just kept the stop loss down here, that may have worked out better. I'm going to just mark it out just so you can see whether or not this would have been better. But we did get stopped out here at 18,582. So I'm going to record that in the spreadsheet. So here's the spreadsheet. As you can see, 18,582. That gave me almost a 2-to-1, like that. It was going to be 1-to-1 just off of that first partial back up here. But as I was aggressively trailing, I was able to get more meat on the bone. And I quickly moved it up to that first partial. That way I won't be missing out if it does come and stop me out there. So this is an example of what you can do on aggressively trailing your stop. I know I don't think I've ever made a video on that. I've seen other people do, like Kimmel Trading. I think he made a video on how to trail your stop loss up aggressively. So that's kind of what I was doing here with one PD array of protection. And this, honestly, I got a little bit too eager. Probably should have kept my stop loss here, but let's just go ahead and see if it actually would have held up. So as you can see here, if I was a little bit more patient with my stop loss and just left it down here until we started creating more PD arrays, then aggressively trailing it up below this fair value gap. And then as we went up more, maybe below this down candle, and then we have another fair value gap here. Could have trailed my stop out down here. Basically kept trailing it up, and I may have gotten stopped out here, right here. So could have, gotten a lot more if I was a little bit more patient. So that is going to be one of the flaws. So I think that this was an error, but I think it's still okay. We have a 2-to-1, nothing to be sad about. Still a pretty good trade, but I could be a little bit more patient with moving my stop loss up. So once again, I've mentioned it before, this is a weakness in my trading where I move my stop loss too quickly. Okay, so May 16th, Thursday morning, 8 o'clock. These were the relative lows from the previous day. I did not want price to go below here, did not even get close. And overnight, we already hit the all-time high target that I was looking for. So now I'm not exactly sure what to do. I'm gonna go down into the 15-minute. Probably just gonna be like, if I do any trading today, probably just be small scalps. The buy side is here. I'm gonna take out the all-time high. It's a little confusing here. Is the sell side, and we'll drop down into the 5-minute. One day, I'm kind of feeling like today is not really going to be a good trading day. Like, it looks like tight consolidation, but sell side down here, buy side up there. Not really sure what to do. Maybe scalp one side to the other, but may not be a good trading day today since we had a pretty big move yesterday. Big range days will follow with small consolidation days, so may not trade today. Just before 9:30, you can see that the 8:30 news was pretty wild. We have, big wicks to the upside and to the downside. Eventually, we started just kind of going down for the sell side. Now at 9:30, if I start seeing displacement to the upside, maybe I'll get a confirmation entry aiming for the other side of this consolidation. Maybe I'll even take a partial off at this high. This will be the target. Okay, so not like big inefficient moves, but we do have a small fair value gap here. Pretty small. I'm not going to say that's very significant. We did come back up into this civvy, so we could go lower. Going to be patient, look for a confirmation entry. And like I said before, you know, today may not be a good trading day, so just going to try and be patient today. Okay, you can see we went down and we created this pretty big wick. Do have relative lows, but because this big move down did not take out this low, it's kind of telling me like, hey, you know, I don't really want to go lower. Maybe I want to go higher, right? We created another, well, this candle is not done forming, but this could potentially be a fair value gap. If it does remain intact, I'll go ahead and give it a shot. Let's see, at 714, I'll take a long with my stop loss at what is it, 695. So that's going to be about 20 points of risk or so. And I'm going to aim for, well, those highs. There's nothing really more I can aim for. All right, so went ahead and entered here. I had enough risk to enter into 3 contracts, put me at 1%. Technically a little bit above 1%, but that's okay. Going to be taking, well, half my position, so it's going to be 2 contracts. Now I have 3 contracts, so 2 contracts will get taken off probably above this high. I mean, yeah, it's only like 3 points more, so gonna look for this high, 2 contracts off, and then last one, maybe I'll just aggressively trail it like I did yesterday and see how high it can go. Okay, nice. A few minutes later, well, not just a few, maybe like 30 minutes, 15 minutes or so later, hit that second, or hit my first partial. So gonna go ahead and take off 2 contracts. So here is the first partial, 2 contracts at 18,735, and the last contract will just aggressively trail and see how high we can go. But for now, I'm going to move my stop to pretty much break even. I do see a volume imbalance here. We could come back down to it. Don't really like having it there. I'm also looking at this long wick here. We could, like, you know, have 50%, so price could come down to 50% of it. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it right here at the low of this wick. This is going to be a little bit better than break even, but pretty much break even. And I forgot to do it yesterday, but I'll make it yellow just so you guys can keep track of where my stop is moved to. This was the initial risk, so this is going to get recorded as my initial risk. Okay, I like seeing how price is moving up with big displacement, and if you look here, this is a pretty big fair value gap, so I don't want to see this fair value gap get taken. So I'm gonna go ahead and move my risk up here. I could be a little bit more aggressive, moving it to the bottom of that fair value gap, thinking I don't want this fair value gap to get closed in all the way. That would give me 10 more points of profit, but I'm going to just be a little bit conservative, leave it down here at the low, just have one fair value gap up or one PD array of protection, and just let it run, see how high it can go. Just looking to get stopped out, or, well, there's no or, pretty much just looking to get stopped out, just seeing how high it can go. Okay, and right away it came back down, told me, hey, I'm not really wanting to go higher. Took out my stop. Yeah, I mean, them's the breaks. I could have just, not been greedy. I could have just taken this out right away, or, been a little bit more risky. Well, risky, right? I mean, I guess more profitable. But anyways, whatever. Still a profitable trade. Pretty happy with it. So took this out at 727.25. And a little bit better than like, what is it? 0.6 to 1. It's okay. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the next day. Real quick, end of the day, you can see pretty much a complete reversal. This is kind of the stuff you get with all-time highs. I thought like, hey, maybe it can run higher, but nope. It went back down, looking for the sell side. There was relative sell side down here. And I don't know, I guess it's looking for lower targets, but whatever. Gonna go into the next day, thinking that perhaps we could start going down, retracing a little bit more. So Friday, May 17th, and looking at the hourly chart, looking at how the week has went. Monday, we consolidated. Tuesday had a big drop down into that, I believe it was a weekly SIBI. Then we started rallying higher, see the power of 3, accumulation, manipulation, and then boom, here we go. This is the big extension or expansion, and we are distributing here. So we could just end it right here, right? It's like the perfect power of 3 shape already. So not really expecting much. If anything, we could come down a little bit more for like this inefficiency or this inefficiency. On the flip side, we could just go up above this high and run a little bit more before finishing off the week. It's a little 50-50, but buy side, obviously no inefficiencies here, so it's gotta be this high. And the low, well, we did take out this low already. I'm gonna mark this one down, but this one is gonna get a dotted line just to remind me that, hey, we already took out the sell side from 4 o'clock. In fact, looking a little bit closer on the 15-minute, you can see we have buy side here, buy side got taken, went for the sell side, buy side got taken. Could be a seek and destroy day, could be a consolidation sideways day. Probably won't be trading today. It is Friday after all. So far, before 9:30, it's pretty much just back and forth chopping movement. Like we did steadily grind up, but you can see that there's not really much inefficiencies. All the candles, lots of wick. It's just kind of like not looking, that good. We want to see inefficiencies. Finally, we do get a drop down. I'm looking for this sell side here. I want to see if this low can get taken. See what 9:30 gives us. Sell side down here. Now, looking at the 15-minute, there was another buy side I saw. I'll mark it out. This high could potentially get taken. There was also this inefficient high right here, like this high right here with this inefficiency. That's what I meant. But, I don't know. Sell side got taken. Well, we'll have to see what 9:30 gives me. All right, getting close to 10:30. Very, very choppy at the open. You can see we did drop down below the sell side here. This was that old sell side that got taken with this swing down here. We created relative equal lows. Gonna get rid of these, not really important. And pretty much choppy action. Now, this is the first time we potentially have a buy side inefficiency, but looking at the relative lows, I kind of expect price to just come down and go for these lows, honestly, and then we'll see if we get some kind of a reversal. Okay, so kind of looks like these relative lows are not wanting to get hit. We created 1 BSC, 2 BSC, came down. We're currently respecting this BSC with this change in the state of delivery here, so we could potentially be trading to the upside. And I'm looking at this high. This would be a nice first partial. It kind of lines up with this old high as well. And of course, these up here. But I don't know, it's pretty big risk. It's going to be tough because if it gives me a fair value gap here and I have my risk down here, it's going to be tough to get 1-to-1 there. And I guess we could look for that. I don't know. We'll see. I kind of want to see price drive down a little bit more into this inefficiency and then give me a fair value gap somewhere around here. Okay, so we did come back down into this inefficiency here. We actually went down below this. So like if I try to take either of these fair value gaps, I would have gotten stopped out. Looks like we may go for the sell side here. Okay, so what I wanted to see originally was a sweep of the sell side and then look for a reversal. But because of this big run up and big run down, creating a balanced price range, we could just be going for the sell side and finishing off the week somewhere in the middle. And looking back, not really seeing much besides, well, there's a fair value gap here that we could be aiming for. So I'll mark this out. This is the fair value gap on the 15-minute. I think if we're going to go down today, we could reach for this as the final target and pretty much just close on the day somewhere in the middle of the range, finishing off the weekly power of 3. But I'm not really looking to trade short, so we'll see. Okay, so we went back into this fair value gap and we've went down lower. Did not take out this low just yet, so I kind of like this actually. Created this fair value gap, so I'm going to go ahead and try to take a short. This will be my entry, and then my stop would be, could be above this high, or it could be above just the body of the candle. It's only going to be 5 points difference, so we'll just be conservative, put it at the high because it could be a pretty volatile day. And I'm aiming for these lows right here. This will definitely be a partial, this low right there. And then my final target, of course, if we start going lower, would be that fair value gap. But I don't know, Friday, and my time is almost up, or getting really close to lunch. And it may not even get my entry because we do kind of, I think this is the, what is this? The low here is 36.50. The high here is 36.50. So this could just be an immediate rebalance and we could just drop down without taking my entry. Okay, so I went ahead and entered short 3 contracts. I really like how when we went down, we did not take out this low. You can see we created relative equal lows. So kind of like how it's setting up the sell side liquidity down here. And of course, it comes up and stops me out. So that was not, well, not fun. I think we could still go for the lows, maybe in the afternoon session, maybe if this creates a fair value gap, but pretty much Friday, and it is like 12:15, already past my time window. Like this fair value gap here, this could push price down, right? I mean, let's go ahead and take a look, but pretty much done for the day. Not really happy with this this stop loss, because I feel like it can still come down here. And yeah, as you can see, it went up for my stop loss and then it never went above there again. You know, it pretty much just came down. First partial here at 12:45, so could have taken off 2 contracts here, put my stop at break even, and that would have even worked out for this right here. That 15-minute fair value gap would have gotten hit. One of those frustrating days where your stop losses just get taken and then it runs into your target. I don't know, maybe I was a little too, maybe my stop loss placement wasn't good here because it went back into this fair value gap. Maybe I should have had my stop loss up here. I don't know. Just pretty frustrating. Let me know in the comments what you think I could have done better. But anyways, thank you all for joining me once again for another backtesting session. You know, these backtesting sessions, I think it is really helping me out with my trading. If not on the technicals, definitely on the psychological part of trading. Trying to be patient, trying to just wait to see until price is pretty obvious on what it's going to do before entering in. And that will translate over to my real live money account. But anyways, until I see you guys next time, safe trading.